Atepo Namaste. This is Kasank Keperu with another broadcast for you. And today I want to talk to you about Maati, the two truths of our reality. It's very early in the morning here, and we're going right into the winter season. And, I found out several years ago that I suffer from SAD, and it's seasonal affective disorder. So when it gets to right after October, it starts to get really dark and the days are shorter. So my body chronology changes and I don't produce enough vitamin D. So I have to take I have to take more supplements, or if I don't, I go into like this depressive state where I become lethargic and things of that nature. And it's actually, I forgot what the statistics say. I think it's like, I don't know, 6% of the American population suffers from it. And lucky me, I get it a lot, And if you've, one thing I want to just say on that real quick regarding SAD and depressive states, people think that people going through depression merely need to just motivate themselves, get up in the morning, go outside and see the sun or be active. When you're suffering from depression, which is again different from SAD, it's not the same thing. Depression in a lot of cases can be caused by your body chemistry not producing enough of certain chemicals. So there is even no impetus for you to get help. You're in such a state of just depression and pessimistic viewpoint that you don't even want to get help. So if you're going to help a person who's going through depression, you basically need to really just be supportive, but understanding that telling them to be motivated, to be happy is of no use because you're dealing with a body chemistry. So it's not an attitude. People think, oh, it's just, if you just see the positive aspect that the glass is half full of life, you'll be better. And that's not the case. That's not how it works. And the same thing actually is with seasonal affective disorder. It's a chemical imbalance. So you're not going to just say, I'm going to stay positive and everything. No, you have to work with your doctor on antidepressants. You have to get more vitamin D. You have to get more sunlight, and they don't know exactly like who is acceptable to SAD, and depression can strike. Some people deal with depression all their lives. Some people just get it at certain points, like a midlife crisis. They go through depression, things of that nature. So there's still a lot of research done in that area. So just know that if you're dealing with some teachers or some people who prescribe meditation or being more positive visualization, depending on the type of depression you have, that's not going to work. All right. So you may have to seek real medical attention. All right. Anyway, to the matter at hand, what I wanted to talk about, because it's really early in the morning, I got up early, 6 a.m. And started doing some work because I'm writing a new ebook on relationships, and that'll be out soon. But I wanted to talk about Maati, which is the two truths, and Maat is the daughter of Ra. And it's said in the Egyptian mythology that Maat is the food for Ra, meaning truth feeds Ra, your energy, your chi, your kundalini, all right, and which is the truth. And we understand that to know truth, you have to live life. That's what Maat tells us. And that's kind of relation to empirical knowledge. And Maat's husband or mate is Tahuti, wisdom, because you cannot have truth without wisdom. We have in this country a left brain mentality, so we think that truth is written down in laws, whereas Tahuti is wisdom to apply Maat, the truth. So you're looking at the absolute and the relative. So Tahuti looks at the situation and then prescribes Maat, the truth, to your individual situation. There is no one rule that applies to everybody. Like in the Ten Commandments, we say, thou shalt not kill. Well, there is times when you must kill, such as in self-defense. Anyway, so what I was explaining, I was doing an interview, and I was explaining to the host that we live in a world of two truths. And even now in this modern day world, it's even more pertinent. So what do I mean by that? especially with your millennials. You live in a world of where you were brought up by the programming of society. All right. And this programming comes from social media, mainstream media, and your parents and the culture and the information that they leave you. All right. And this forms your reality. However, this is not the truth of reality. All right. Then there is reality itself, and which is the objective reality, which is out there, what's really going on. So what I put forth to you is I'm telling you this, that what you have been told, better yet, let me give it to you this way. When I was growing up, there was a lot of things I was told about women, I was told about the job force that actually turned out to be absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. And this was given to me, again, by my parents and mainstream media. So I went all the way up into college believing the world was a certain way. Now, let me give you an example. I thought that if you work hard and that if you were honest, you would achieve things in life. And that is not true. And we see that the most corrupt people and the most corrupt corporations are your billion-dollar wealthy corporations headed by your corrupt CEOs. Right. And this is actually the norm. This is not like Enron where, oh, well, that's an anomaly. They were corrupt. No, most of these big companies deal in corrupt practices such as hiring. For example, we know when we look at things like overseas, we see that chocolate is manufactured by kids in Africa. They're picking the cocoa beans, paid not even enough to buy a Hershey's bar. So they don't even know what chocolate tastes like. That is just a corrupt practice and violation of child labor laws. All right. But this is the norm. OK, so but we're told that the United States is the greatest country in the world. We're told that if you go for a company, you work hard, you can go up the corporate ladder, which is an absolute lie because there's a filter system that gets you to a position. So you have to prove that you're willing to do certain things. Just for example, I say that the president of the United States more than likely is not like you and I. They don't have the capacity to empathize. That was genetically rooted out of them, because you and I, when we're asked to use drones to bomb children in third world countries, we would go, no way I can do that. So you have to, excuse me, let me just adjust the mic here. So you have to be an individual who cannot empathize, who has no feeling and sensitivity to where you can basically kill masses and masses of people. That's what the president have to do. And yet you're not told this. You believe that the president stands for freedom and the American way. And the president doesn't, but you don't understand that it comes at a cost. Meaning that you have to rape third world countries of their natural resources and kill people unwilling to give up their natural resources. The case in point, Africa has been raped of gold and raped of precious minerals, basically taken from the African people. And they, of course, they protested, but the United States is a military might and we destroy them in a second. So we take what we want, put in the mainstream media that, oh, you know what, they're against us because we're about freedom. So we'll go in there and we'll depose, we'll actually remove the democratically elected leader because he will not go along with giving us all his natural resources, and we'll put in place a puppet leader that will rape the country and give us the resources, and we in turn will pay him billions of dollars, and he'll keep that for himself, and the people will live in poverty. So these are the lies that we are given and that we perceive as the world. But I want to quote something even more important because it goes deeper than that. All right, and this is a quote from H.E. Davey, and it goes: "Memorizing someone else's explanation of the truth isn't the same as seeing the truth for yourself. It is what is." Oh, sorry, my computer just shut off on me at the right particular time. It is what is the memorization of secondhand knowledge. It is not your experience. It is not your knowledge. And no matter how much material is learned by rote, and no matter how eloquently we speak about the memorized information, we're clinging to a description of something that's not ours. What's more, the description is never the item itself. Let me say that again. The description is never the item itself. By holding on to our impression of certain descriptions, we frequently are unable to see the real thing when it's right before our eyes. We are conditioned by memorizing and believing concepts, the truth of which we've never genuinely seen ourselves. That is so poignant. All right, so you are taking in a belief system, a definition of things that someone's telling you is reality, and you're responding to that. And then we become so passionate about that perspective that we fight to the death to hold on to that concept of reality, even though it's diametrically opposed to us, even though it is to our detriment. Do you understand? Like, we don't question things anymore. Mainstream media tells us what to believe and we believe it. But let's take this a step further. You have to understand that you are consciousness. You are not a physical being. You are consciousness experiencing fourth dimensional reality, and you exist on multiple realities, but you're only focused on this one reality. And you can shift your focus to many different parallel realities. But however, when you are perceiving this reality, you must understand that the things that you see, a mailbox, a plane, a car, a building, your mate, they are not the thing themselves. Do you understand what I mean? They are symbols of things that are going on within you. And those symbols, such as your mate, the mailbox, the car, are ways of yourself communicating to you. So you are manufacturing the reality that you see all around you to communicate back to you, to tell you something about what's going on with you. So in case in point, when I get up and I go out and interact in this fourth dimensional reality in this world, I understand very clearly that things that occur only occur because I'm holding on to a certain belief system. This is why when you get into higher spirituality, higher consciousness, you don't hold on to judgments and definitions, because you understand that if you are held to any one perspective or definition of something, you are a reality creating machine, that you will respond to that, create that reality to interact with. You know what I mean? Like when I think about a new concept or new idea, and let's just throw something arbitrarily out there. When I think about, like, oh, I think that men can be in certain situations very, very aggressive. So if I hold on to that, and that becomes a real belief, I will start to see guys in my experience be very aggressive toward one another. This is just a very primitive example. All right. So I will actually see that happening, but I know that that's not reality. I say, well, it's not an objective reality. I know that men aren't really like that. That's just me generating that experience based on a belief system so I can interact with it. And that's what you do. You're creating this holographic experience based on your belief system to interact with. But the truth of the reality behind those symbols that you've created is something far different, you know? And maybe that's one of the reasons in the Egyptian mythology, we have Maati, the true truths. We also know that in the very beginning, that there was only one, there was Neter, God, source energy. And that the first act of creation with source energy, God, was to step back and look at itself. And in doing that, the one became two. The subjective realm became the objective realm. All right. And so when Neter looked back at itself, one of the first things Neter created, or God's source, was Maat, the law, the foundation of which everything was to stand upon. So what I am saying to you now is that when you're looking at the world, understand that most of it is prejudiced by the programming of society and the culture or your parents that you were brought up in. But the reality of the world is far different from your perspective. And that's what we have to get to the root of. So how do we do that? We have to go back to our own thinking as a conscious being. We have to go to Tahuti, wisdom. And this means to still the thought process, because to intuit wisdom, to get knowledge from the Akashic records, you have to still the thought process. You cannot be full with ideas and things, because then you'll manufacture that. This is why I say we cannot start passing judgment on everything, because when you pass judgment, you solidify our belief system, and then it's hard to get rid of that belief system. Just like we know that this reality is manufactured through a type of hypnosis, through a reality tunnel. So as the same way as you see the entertainers, the hypnotists, in Vegas stage shows bring people up on stage and put them in a state of hypnosis to where they believe that they're chickens, and they walk around acting like chickens. So if you can be placed in that type of trance to believe that you're a chicken, then the dominant society, the ruling elite, know that they can put you into a state of hypnosis to believe that there are things like buildings. Now, what I propose to you, and I'm going to end with this, is there really buildings? Is there really cars? Is there really trains? Do you as a physical being really exist? No, there is none of that. Because like the artist, the painter who paints on a canvas, which is blank, he's painting what he wants or she wants. So I propose to you that the things around us are merely symbols of a reality that we created based on someone else's belief system. So why not start creating things based on your own belief system? And together we'll manufacture a better reality. So this is Kasark Maat Keperu, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, please hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. And until my next broadcast, Amun Ra.